I just purchased and rehabbed this house behind me, all with somebody else's money, and instantly made $45,000 the day I closed, and I'm gonna show you exactly how. My name is JD Sustar, also known as the Finance Cowboy, and my wife and I have been able to build a multi-million-dollar rental portfolio in just a few short years. And the strategy we use to get it done is what is known as the BRRRR method. And so what we did on this house and the other 20 plus properties that we own goes like this. We buy the properties with somebody else's money, and then we rehab the properties with a private investor's money as well. We then go after we bought and rehab the properties and we get them rented out with a tenant. Once the tenant's in place, we go and refinance that property into a long-term stable loan with the bank, and they write us a check that we then pay the private lender back with, and then we repeat this process. We've been able to do this over and over and over again over the last 4 years, and now, like I said, we have over 20 plus rental properties and we are scaling fast. So come on, we'll show you exactly what we did to this property here behind me. There's some methods that we use after we buy the property to know what we need to fix, in what order, and then how nice we need to fix them. Because when we're looking at fixing up a rental property compared to doing an actual flip where you would buy the property, make it really nice and sell it, there's gonna be some differences because when you're flipping a property, you wanna make it as nice as possible, congruent to the area so you can get the most bang for your buck when you go to sell it. When you're doing rental properties, you want to make it in good living condition, but you just may not do all the nice finishes like you would with a fix and flip. We start by getting an inspection report. Every time, no matter what property I buy, I'm always getting an inspection report by a third-party inspection company. That way it's unbiased and I know exactly what needs to be fixed. And so they're gonna let me know all the major things, the plumbing, the electrical, HVAC, foundation issues, windows, everything, you name it. And so we take that report and we normally start by looking underneath the house first. And so we'll take care of those major things that may have issues underneath the house, such as plumbing issues. Do we have any leaks or cracks in the pipes? Or is it the old type of tubing that needs to be replaced with PVC or PEX pipe? Next, we'll move and we'll say, okay, what do the HVAC ducts look like? If you get under these distressed houses, a lot of times you'll see that the HVAC ducts have fallen on the ground. A lot of them are broken up completely. And so you need to replace them so that you're being efficient, saving on energy, and you're actually getting AC and heat into the house. We also look and fix any foundation issues that we may run into. And so I'll show you when we get in this house, when we bought this property, the foundation and some of the support beams underneath the house were in bad condition and it was causing the floor to sag tremendously. And so we went in underneath this house and we stabilized the flooring and actually raised it 2 inches. Also, we're gonna look at electrical underneath the house. We're probably most of the time going to rewire the entire house with electrical because although we want to fix the finishes to be more congruent with a rental property, I believe it's a good idea to go ahead and fix the nuts and bolts completely in a property, whether you're gonna keep it as a rental or whether you're gonna flip it. And what I mean by that is when you look at electrical, when you look at HVAC, when you look at plumbing, when you look at foundation issues, if you can take care of that on the front end, even keeping it as a rental, if and when you go to sell that rental later, you don't have to deal with those big issues because they've already been taken care of on the front end. So those are the main items that we take care of underneath the house, but let's go inside and I'll show you what we did inside the house. All right, as you can see, we put all new flooring in this house. So before we put it in, we ripped it all up. It was all pulled up. And we did that for a couple of reasons. Number one, the flooring that was in here already was awful. It was mix and match all throughout the house and we wanted to make it congruent and flow all the way through. But also, if you remember me saying, underneath the house, the foundation and some of the support beams were in bad shape, and you can kind of see it in here, maybe hard to see on video. The floor is still slanting down a little bit, but when we first bought this property, there was a huge drop. It looked like a mountain dropping off into this living room. And so while we had the floors up, we went underneath and we put new support beams and actually raised this floor 2 inches over here to lift it up to make the floor a little bit more level. While we had the floor lifted off, we realized that a lot of the subfloor underneath the house was also in bad condition. So we bought all new OSB, put all new subflooring down all throughout the house before we laid the floor on top. But once we got the OSB down, we didn't immediately put the flooring down. When you're doing renovations, once you get the subflooring done and before you put the new flooring down, We like to work from top to bottom, okay? So we start at the top and we say, okay, are there any support beams that need to be fixed? For example, there was a support beam here that needed a little bit more stability that we went in and added a little more structure to. Also, when we looked at the ceilings, there was some popcorn ceiling in some of the spots. We went ahead and took that off, got it patched up, and then we moved down to the walls. Patched all the spots on the drywall that needed to be fixed, and we went through and painted the house. And once we got the house painted, then we could move to the flooring. But I want to show you guys what we did in the bathrooms as well. All right, as you can see, we kept the same flooring moving in here like we did in the living room, and that's all throughout the house. We put in a new vanity, okay? We didn't put in a luxury vanity, but you can go to Home Depot, Lowe's, any home improvement store and buy these nicer vanities, and they don't cost that much money. Same thing with the toilet. You might as well go ahead and replace the toilet, make everything looking good. But one thing that you'll notice that we kept was the existing tub and shower. Now, if we were gonna flip this property, we would have ripped all of this out and we would have tiled in the bottom and the walls and made the shower very nice. But because we're keeping it as a rental, and properties that are kept as rentals tend to get beat up over time, we didn't want to sink a ton of money into putting tile into the bathrooms only for it to get destroyed over time. So instead we kept it as it is, and if we go to flip this house later, we will tile it out and make it look really good. So if we look at the master bathroom, you can see that we did the exact same thing in here. So we went to the store, put a nice vanity in, again, not luxury, but a good looking vanity that has use with the drawers for storage as well. We had to put a new shower into this particular bathroom because the last one was in such bad condition. But as you can tell, we did not put tile, we did not make it super nice, and we made the best use of our space by getting the cylinder-shaped shower that allows the tenants to have a lot of space in the shower, but also still allowed us to maximize the space in the bathroom by keeping the toilet here in this corner. One of the interesting things about this house when we bought it is this wall right here was actually moving back and forth. So I could take it and swing this wall back and forth when I first bought this property. And the reason why, and you see we still haven't added them quite yet, is there's no gutters. And so what's happening is water is flowing off of the roof, coming down, and then it was rotting out the support beams underneath this wall. So we had to rip all of them out, re-support this wall, get the structure back in place. So now we don't have a swinging wall. It's nice and sturdy, and we don't have to worry about it moving forward as long as we get those gutters in place and take care of it. So the last thing I'll show you guys is the kitchen. As you can tell, it doesn't look like a luxury gourmet kitchen. The reason why is when you get into the rental business, and the longer you're in there, you'll realize that the kitchen really gets beat up. If you think about it, where do you and your family spend most of their time? I know we spend a lot of our time in the kitchen. Same thing with most people and most families. And so when we're doing a rental property, we normally do not fix kitchens up very nicely. Now, I have made that mistake in the past where I put nice countertops, nice backsplashes, maybe all new cabinetry in. And then what happens is you come in a couple years later after that tenant moves out and the doors are broken or they're missing or they don't fit any longer, paint's chipped off and they've scratched up whatever the tabletop is. And so we have decided with our rentals, we try to keep existing kitchens in place when possible. Now, with that being said, we make sure that everything functions correctly, dishwasher, plumbing, stove, all the doors are working good, countertops are in working condition, but it's not something that we traditionally sink a lot of money into as a rental property because we know that it's gonna get a lot of wear and tear over time. And so if we go and we sell this property on the back end, that is something we will do before we list it on the market. If you want to see more videos like this where I teach you how we buy, rehab, and manage real estate properties, then like this video and then click the link below to subscribe to our page. We'll see you next time.